Welcome to Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc, the wildest mixed tag team in podcasting where the kayfabe drops and the chaos takes over. Let's ring the damn bell.
Headlocks tight, heels on the prowl, dropping elbows, hearing growl, feel the foul. No script here, just real, no bluff. Kayfabe crack, now the dirt gets rough. Headlocks, heels, havoc in the zone. Stepping in the ring, chaos at your home. No filters, no mask, just raw pants on. Wrestling unscripted, we on the throne. Title bells, mic checks, crowd going crazy. Drop truth bombs, leaving lines feeling hazy. Beyond the kayfabe, past the charade, where legends are born and stories get made. Headlocks, stop it, who's hitting the mat? Welcome to the Havoc where the real talk's at. Tune in, step through, leave the fake at the door. Headlocks, heels, Havoc, now hear the roar.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about a man whose reputation was built on toughness, respect, and a level of credibility that very few professional wrestlers in history could ever match. Before the bright lights, before the corporate polish, before wrestling became what it is today, there were men who made the business real every single night they stepped into the ring. And one of the toughest of them all was Harley Race, a man who didn't need flash, he didn't need gimmicks, he didn't need to shout to prove a point. When Harley Race walked into a building, everybody knew exactly who the toughest man in the room was. 8-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Road Warrior who defended the title night after night, city after city, against the best wrestlers in the world. And a man whose influence helped shape the careers of legends like Ric Flair and countless others who followed. Today on Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc, we're diving into the life, career, and legacy of the man that many people consider one of the toughest champions the business has ever produced. From the territories to the championship reigns to the stories that made him a legend. This episode is all about Harley Race. So sit back, tighten the headlocks, watch out for the heels, because the Havoc starts now. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am the legend J-Mac, one half of the greatest tag team in podcasting. With me, as always, is everybody's favorite Uncle Slam.
What's up, fam?
And guys, today it's all about the handsome one, handsome Harley Race. This man has got, we were talking about it off screen. The stories out of the ring are almost more interesting than the stories in the ring, as interesting as the in-ring stories are.
Exactly.
This man,
I hope he has like an autobiography or something somewhere, because I would love to read it.
Yes. At least
it don't even seem like some of the stuff that he lived through and like happened like were even real or possible.
And you're right. It's like, how do you go into wrestling and you live this life in wrestling that's like, this, character life and everything. But then like your outside life is just as chaotic or whatever you want to call it as your wrestling life. We got a lot to cover here tonight.
Oh yeah. Like I was actually shocked because I didn't know, like I have heard stories just like everybody else about Harley Race and, some of the stuff he did. And then once I started doing more research, I'm like, damn, his life is more interesting outside the ring than it is inside the ring. Mm-hmm. And just wait till these people hear like all the shit that we've learned about this man and stuff. They're going to be shocked too.
Yep.
I promise you.
Let's see. I'm trying to find it right here. I had some facts about him. He was born in Quitman, Missouri, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think so.
And let's see here. I had it right there. And then my phone decided it wanted to do all kinds of silly stuff. You got to love that.
Was it 43 or something with you?
I want to say it was around there in the later or early 40s. Crap. I hate whenever my phone acts.
Either
Here we
43
go.
or I thought.
Yeah. April 11th, 1943 in Quitman, Missouri.
Oh, right before
Uh,
my birthday. Hell, I'm April 10th.
that's crazy.
Good company. Good company.
Yeah, that's right. He became an 8-time holder of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, tying the record later matched by Ric Flair. Uh, Harley Race defeated Jack Briscoe in 1973 to win his first NWA World Championship. Lord, let's say during the territory era, he often wrestled 300 matches a year, traveling
Oh,
across
damn.
multiple regions. Like, you know, just those facts alone, I don't know the respect that this man garnered. Because when I first started watching Harley Race, I'm not going to lie, I first caught him when he was the king in the
Yeah.
WWF, and I didn't understand the gimmick at the time because I
Mhm.
didn't understand who Harley Race was.
Yeah, me
To
too.
me, yeah, he was just an old man, and I'm gonna be honest with you, this man had some like chicken legs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he
He
had the crazy hair, the old
yeah,
like curls and shit. And no, he wasn't all cut or whatever. He just like a
right.
regular guy.
I was like, what makes this guy a king?
Yeah,
Why is he so revered and everything? Of course, later on in life, you realize that this man done a lot for the business. I mean, I don't even really know where to start with him. I mean,
shit. I think they said when he was a kid, he was watching wrestling and he wanted to be a wrestler. He told his parents from a young age that he wanted to be a wrestler. And I know he was always one of the biggest kids in school. Um, didn't he start wrestling when he was like 16 or something like that?
I believe so. It
Because,
was in his
he, of
teens.
course, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it was in his teens.
Yeah, yeah. Because he started when he was like 16 and shit. Um, I had also read somewhere where they were talking about he got kicked out of school or something like that, got in a fight. I don't know if he attacked his principal, but I think the principal hit him in the back of the head with a knee or some shot, and then I think he went after the principal and they kind of kicked him out.
Well, when the third grader can beat up the principal,
Yeah, that's kind of scary there. I mean, I'm pretty sure, and I'd probably say the principal probably lost that one too, or whatever.
right. Well, let me give you a little part of his earlier life before wrestling. It says Harley Race was born April 11th, 1943 in Quitman, Missouri, and grew up in nearby Maryville. He had a rough upbringing and left school at a young age. As a teenager, he was already known locally for being strong, tough, and able to handle himself in fights, which caught the attention of people connected in the wrestling business. Race first got started in the business itself. Came through legendary promoter and wrestler Gust, yeah, Gust, Gust Carras. I'm gonna
Hmm.
have to look him up. I've never heard of him. Carras ran shows in the Midwest and offered Race a job setting up the ring and helping backstage, as a lot of young talent does to get started. This was a common way for you. Well, okay, well, it went on to say the same thing. It's a common way for people to break into the business. He did several jobs at first. He was setting up and tearing down the ring, driving wrestlers to towns, and helping backstage. And while doing that, he started training with the wrestlers and learning the basics of the business. And that's pretty much how he broke in. He just his break in story was pretty much like everybody, a lot of people's. He
Hmm.
just started going to shows and got noticed, and people knew who he was because of his reputation. And
Yeah, he was a tough guy. I saw where they had said that while he was being kind of like a driver for that what was it, Happy Humphrey, I think it was,
yeah,
or whatever, that there were some gangs in the area. So to show, to I guess not chase him off, but to show him that he was tough too, he took 7 needles, tied them together, and then tattooed Lone Star on his arm in Indian ink.
good lord. I mean,
Like,
I've I got
Seven
tattoos.
needles? 7 needles, man. 7 needles at once.
That one right there in that area, man, that hurts. I don't want. Yeah, no.
And I don't know if people know what Indian ink is. It's not as bad as what they use in prison, but it's basically like almost like carbon and stuff like that. Like it's waterproof. That shit does not fade away. Like yeah, it's real. It's no joke. And this man did it like it wasn't shit. And then I think the gangs came towards it, or they tried to challenge him one day, which I guess they picked the wrong day because he pulled out his dad's shotgun and sprayed their car, and then he didn't have any problems anymore.
I would
Imagine how a
say
shotgun fixes all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, problem solved. Like, stories like that about Harley. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the shit that I've learned about this man, and that's just a small sample. Did you know that one of his biggest fans was Elvis Presley?
oh, really? I did not know that.
Elvis
And
was
I'm
a
a,
huge fan because Elvis would hire wrestlers as bodyguards and protectors, and security. And one of his biggest Harley Race's biggest fans was Elvis Presley.
that's pretty cool. I never
He,
knew that.
yeah, he
And I,
Elvis loved wrestling. Like I don't know if people knew that or not, but yeah, he really liked. Because you got to think, man, he's in the South anyway. Wrestling's always been big in the South.
we got a comment here from somebody on Twitch that says, "Hello, mate. I really love the way you stream and would like to be one of your biggest dedicated fans and friends. Add me up on Discord. Username is I won't put it out there, but hey, we appreciate it.
Yes,
I don't, I
appreciate
don't
all the
know.
love.
Yes, I don't know how to say your screen name, but DG. Yeah, I'm gonna call you DG. We appreciate it. Keep following, keep watching. We're on YouTube, Spotify. Best way you can be a fan is just go support it, like, follow, and subscribe.
There
Like
you go.
everything.
Best
But
way.
yeah, we appreciate it. All the love. We definitely.
But yeah,
Um,
like that was some other shit that I didn't even know about him. That like I said, Elvis. Elvis was the biggest thing in the world. That's like having Michael Jackson as your fan.
yes,
You know
and,
what I'm
and
saying?
that'd be like a Michael Jackson standing beside Hulk Hogan in the '80s.
Yes, yes, yes. And being like, hey, bud, let's go hang out. Hey,
Yep.
you want to talk some wrestling? What are we talking about?
Unlike Hulk Hogan being a member of Metallica,
This
you know,
was real. This was
right?
real.
This
Shit.
wasn't kayfabe. He really was a fan. See, I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look that up because I mean, anybody that knows me knows I like Elvis. So
Yeah.
that's actually one I didn't know.
Yeah. And I saw also where, when a wrestling was slow, he would bale hay to make a living. And on a
Yeah.
good day, they would sling like 1,000 bales for like 10 cents.
Jeez,
Him
man,
and two other people. And after he paid them, he would still walk away with $70.
that's crazy.
Do you know how much
That
hay that is? That's insane.
right. I mean, I've chopped tobacco before, and I don't want to do that for 5 minutes, much
And
less baling hay for. Yeah,
and then when he had to wrestle, he would still do hay. Sometimes he would just get his brother or somebody else to drive the truck.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
But that was the way it was done back then. A
yeah,
lot of guys, the money, I'm not saying the money was there, but it was there
mm,
for pretty much the top guys.
exactly,
If you
exactly.
wasn't a top guy, you wasn't getting the money. So, you had to kind of go, and do something, work a
Yeah, like you
farm
either had a
or,
second job or you had a regular job. I mean, you had to figure out something, and you weren't gonna let your family starve. So you're gonna do something.
that's crazy. I did not know that. Let's
Hmm.
see here. He was, I know early in his career, he survived a serious car accident in 1960 that killed his girlfriend and nearly ended his life.
Yeah, it was in. I think they said 17 inches of snow. I don't know why, but they said I think it was a truck or a bus or something like was coming towards them and was trying to swerve to miss a snowdrift, and then hit them head on or whatever.
That's crazy. It said, despite doctors believing he might never wrestle again, he recovered and became one of the biggest champions in wrestling history. I didn't see. Did you happen to find out in your research what his injuries were in that car wreck? Because I didn't see anything on it.
They really said was his leg, but the leg was pretty bad that they were actually going to amputate it. And I think
Wow,
one of his friends stopped them from doing the surgery and stuff because they were real close to doing it. Like it was really really bad because they didn't think he was ever going to. They thought walking was going to be would be barely, and wrestling was completely over, and he made a full recovery.
That's crazy. See, that's almost like a Lex Luger situation
Yes, yes,
where
yes.
Lex mangled his arm up and everything, and I think it was Sting told him no.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
not amputate that arm. Let's go talk to, I think it was Dr.
Doctor
Andrews.
Andrews. Yeah, yeah.
So imagine that. His happened in the 60s. That was
Mhm.
30 years before the technology that Dr. Andrews
Oh
had in the
yeah.
early 90s. And they saved his leg, man. There's no doubt he definitely had somebody looking out for him, but that man was tough enough to get through some things that normal people wouldn't get through.
Oh hell yeah. But the leg also saved him too because he got drafted for the war, and then once they saw his leg for the Vietnam War, they said, "Oh well, you're a no go."
Yeah,
So then they wouldn't let him join the army, so he didn't have to go to Vietnam.
it's crazy. Like this man's got so many stories. I watched, if I'm not mistaken, they did a Dark Side of the Ring on him,
Hmm.
and they were telling the story about how we were talking about this off camera too, where he WWF in the 80s were coming to like the St. Louis area, and he was running shows from his promotion in
Yeah.
the St. Louis area. And Hogan, he got one of his guns and went to the arena and showed up at the arena and was going to tell Hogan, "You walk out there with that belt on, and I'm just going to shoot you. You ain't
Hmm.
taking my livelihood away and coming into my territory and doing all this." I was like, "That's crazy."
Harley loved guns. Like I said, like he was an avid gun collector. Like I think they said he had over 100 guns, and always kept the gun with him.
That's crazy. I mean,
Always.
but you can't blame him either, for some of the territories he had to go to and stuff and just life on the road back then. You didn't
Oh
know
yeah,
who
it's
was getting
dangerous.
ready.
And plus, a lot of people always try to attack you, and they don't know that wrestling ain't real because it was kayfabe, so you always stayed in character. I don't know if a lot of people know this also that he actually tried to save somebody from a car wreck or whatever, which they had already died or whatever, but he ran over there and flipped him up, and then people heard about it and started liking him, but he was a heel. And like that was messing up his character because they recognized him in real life as a good guy, but he was trying to be a bad guy because that was his character, and people were liking him instead of hating him and shit. But he was trying to do the right thing by saving somebody,
That's
which of course
it.
person passed away. So tell me that's not messed up. Even as when he was trying to be a heel, he couldn't be a heel because he tried to he tried to help somebody and shit, try to save a
You,
life.
and to me, that's kind of beautiful. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This man, he could have just kept on driving,
Hmm.
and said, "Man, if I do this, I'm going to mess up my character." But at that point in time, it wasn't about wrestling. It wasn't about anything else. It was just about, man, there's another human being that's
Yeah,
hurt.
let me help somebody. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
Like,
And you don't. I think because of all the rough stories and stuff and everything and it happens with a lot of wrestlers,
hmm
you don't hear the human side of them
yeah,
and the good things that they done that wasn't necessarily in character, quote
yeah,
unquote.
exactly.
So I mean, it's cool that stuff like this gets spotlighted too,
Yeah,
because
because I don't think enough people know. Like you said, they hear about how tough he is, but they don't hear about him trying to rescue somebody, like or him trying to uh, stop a girl that was being harassed by somebody, and like he ended up getting stabbed because of it or whatever and shit.
yeah,
People don't talk about that.
he. It seems to me like Harley was just a man's man.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? It wasn't about I don't know how to say it. It wasn't about like putting on a front or
it wasn't
anything.
ego. It wasn't
No,
I got to be the best. The this and that. It was like this is just who he is and shit. Like he didn't have to act tough because he was tough. You know what I'm saying? Like
yep,
people that it's it's almost like people that have money have to show you that they have money to prove to everybody. But he was really tough, so he didn't have to act tough because he was tough.
that's it.
You
And
know what I'm saying?
well,
Like there was no putting on because I am who I am. Like I can take a stabbing or I can take a punch or I can, you know, Hell, he used to fight fans. He used to invite them into the ring, and then he'd be like, "Now I got your ass. Now I can put you in a chokehold, or I can put you in this, and oh, we'll see how tough your ass really is and shit." Yeah, you talked all that shit. Come on in the ring.
Here we are. Come see
Yeah,
us.
like I
So
mean, like
in
people. Go ahead.
oh go ahead. Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead with
Oh
what
no,
you were gonna say.
I was just gonna say how people don't understand about there's stories about his strengths as far as his handshakes could could break somebody's hand and shit. Like that's how strong. Like he had a grip like no other and shit.
That's crazy. Just, and see, to know, I hate to use a quote from like a Marvel movie or anything like that, but it does kind of reflect on real life. When you've got strength and power like that, it comes with a great responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Andre the Giant, another example. He can go out there and crush somebody anytime he wants to, but I'm not going to do that because I know I can really hurt people, and I don't
Yeah,
want to hurt
exactly.
people. It's crazy. So in 1973, Harley Race faced Jack Briscoe for the NWA World Championship, and Race defeated Briscoe for his first world title, which signified a major shift in the NWA Championship lineage. Which I didn't realize he had won his first championship that early in the 70s. I thought it was more like late 70s throughout kind of like the early 80s up until he got to WWE and was doing the whole King gimmick and everything
Yeah,
like that. But let's see. He's got Harley Race and Terry Funk in 1977 NWA World Championship. Brutal, realistic, hard hitting match. Of course, it's Terry Funk.
oh yeah, shit,
Terry Funk was
hardcore,
hardcore before hardcore was even
hardcore,
a
yeah,
thing. Um, and from what I read to the everybody, any territory they could get Funk versus Race booked, it didn't matter. They was going to do what they had to do to get it because
yeah,
it was like a huge feud, for a while and everything. Let's see. He also Dusty Rhodes NWA World Championship. Of course, that happened through multiple territories.
yeah,
They the thing that everybody talked about with that was the clash of the styles. Was Race was so cold and technically brutal and all that
mhm.
stuff, and Dusty had the charisma and the crowd connection and all that stuff. I'm gonna have to go back and watch those matches
Yeah.
because
Me too. Like I definitely want to watch some more of those matches because I watched some of Harley's matches, but I feel like it was more towards the end of his career when he wasn't as good or he wasn't as he wasn't his prime.
well, not only that, but like of talking about Harley, he invented basically the diving headbutt.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
5 minutes after
yeah.
he
He was
did it,
high
he was
flying before a lot of people were high flying. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? Like I didn't know that either. I didn't know he used to come off the top rope.
yep. But and I was reading something where he did what was it like after a few years of doing the flying headbutt, and I'm talking about maybe like 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
He started urging people, don't do this.
See,
It's
if
gonna
he's
it's gonna
telling you not to do the shit, there's a reason for it.
mm-hmm.
Now I wish,
he said he
I
said
wish
it
kind of
jacked
Chris
up his
Benoit had
neck
done
and
the
back.
same thing.
Right. But it said he could tell that it was going to give him long-term problems and everything
Mhm.
with, just his back and stuff like that, which is crazy because, oh
See,
no,
I would
it's,
figure it'd be more like head and neck problems and shit.
yep. Let's see. Race wrestled extensively in Japan for All Japan Pro Wrestling, where he became extremely popular. Imagine that.
Yeah,
Especially in Japan, because Japan really respected like the style that, Race would do that
yeah,
hard hitting, no nonsense. I don't see Race being the kind of guy in his earlier days, especially as NWA champion, that was catering to the crowd a lot.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Whether it be as a heel or a face, I feel like Race was very staying focused on his opponent,
yeah,
not, you know, doing the whole, yeah, you hate
Yeah.
me. I'm sure he did that stuff, but
Mhm.
not to the point to where people do it nowadays and stuff.
Yeah. I didn't know it that I mean, like he was such a big traveler. I mean, like he wrestled all over the world and shit. I mean, obviously, Japan. I think he wrestled for both New Japan and the other one or whatever. I can't think of the name right now.
All Japan,
Yeah.
or I mean, it
Uh,
may not have been All Japan back then, but
yeah, yeah. It was something else at the time, IGP or something like that.
oh, IWGP,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, he wrestled all over the place, and everybody knew him and stuff. And what I love the best is that, and we've talked about this before, taking the title and going to other promotions and fucking defending it, showing it off. And something that I didn't even know that I learned that I love to this day is that at one point WWF, NWA, and AWA, they would have title for title matches and shit. It would be Harley, it would be was it Bob Backlund, I think it
yep.
was
Nick
superstar Billy
Bockwinkel,
Graham and stuff.
yeah,
And there was one other person, and they would wrestle each other and go to the other promotions. They would do titles and shit. That's the shit I love. That's the shit that we've talked about, taking the best of the best and put them together and let them wrestle to see who is really the best.
that's it. That's exactly. I would love, like they used, going back and looking, like I have seen just researching other things, not just
Mhm.
Harley, but like, yes, like wrestling, they used to put on super shows like that all the time where champions from different organizations would come and wrestle. It may not be five different organizations, but
Yeah.
you had AWA versus, Memphis wrestling.
Hmm.
I mean, what's his name? Uh, Jerry Lawler. He became a world champion by winning the AWA World Championship, and he didn't even wrestle for AWA.
Yeah.
Same thing. WCCW. Down in Texas, they would do interpromotional stuff. That's kind of. I've always loved WWF, but or WW. I'm always going to call it WWF,
Yeah.
but I always loved it. But like, I never thought about it as a kid, and then as an adult, I seen an interview where somebody was like, the WWF is the WWF's champion. The NWA was the world champion.
Yes, because you would take it all over and defend it all over
Yes.
to different territories, different countries and stuff.
Yep. And that's what the person said. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it may have been somebody like Harley or something like that. But that's what he said. He was like, how can your championship be a world championship if you only defend it in your company?
Hmm.
He said, I took my championship and went here, went there, Bob, that's something that I do. I've always respected about the NWA is that they want to wrestle the best of the best. They want their champions out there with the best. They don't always want to have to create the storylines from in their company. Let's create a storyline, let's, drop some hints about, you know, CM Punk versus, MJF,
Yeah.
something like that. But you ain't gonna get that stuff nowadays
No,
because
because there's too
everybody's
much greed. Nobody wants to let anybody else shine at all. Like that is not. Look, we're not gonna let anybody. It took them forever to even like mention like another promotion on their show. So let alone work with now a little bit with NXT. They're starting a little bit, with Evolve and TNA, which I like a lot. But I think maybe that could help WWE, honestly. Like if they did do some shit with some other organizations or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Freshen it up, new
yep.
ideas, try something new. Because obviously the same shit we keep seeing over and over, it's not working.
And I agree. They've got to switch something up.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I'm gonna throw up some pictures here of Harley. Well, a picture of him in his younger days. There's old handsome Harley Race right there.
See, and he was a tough guy, but he wasn't all swole. He wasn't juicing or nothing. He looked like a normal, regular guy.
Yep, he reminds me of like my first stepdad. And I know that sounds terrible, but but my first stepdad, man, that if you looked at him, you'd think he was just a beer drinker that sat on the couch all day.
Mm-hmm.
But man, he worked on the railroad. He had a big old belly, wasn't no muscles or nothing like that. But I distinctly remember we bought one of those double door refrigerators back when they first came out. Them things were huge.
Yeah.
The guy that brought it to our house, it was like from Sears or something like that. He brought it up to the house and he had put it on the dolly wrong and couldn't get it through the door.
Mm-hmm.
My stepdad unattached that thing from the dolly, had everybody push it over onto his back, and he took a strap and put it around the thing and held it and picked it up and walked it into the house and put it
Oh my
right where it
God.
needed to go.
Wow.
I was like, okay, this is not the stepdad to mess with.
That's that working man strength right there. Like that
Yes.
ain't that, I go to the gym and push iron to look big. That's that I got real strength.
Yes, and that's what Harley was. Harley was just like I said, a man's man. There wasn't no flashiness about him. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
Some red, white, and blue boots, and just it was simple. I don't know. I like Harley Race a lot more now that I've done this research, just because of the fact that, like I said, he was a manager and kind of like the goofy king when I first
Yeah.
started watching him. But yeah, speaking of the Goofy King, his King gimmick came after winning the WWF King of the Ring tournament in 1986
The very
and
first one.
86. Yes. And that was actually the first time he joined the WWF as King Harley Race. And the reason I found out, I didn't understand that gimmick for a long time, but I found out that the reason they gave him that gimmick was because Vince, was like, Vince tremendously respected Harley Race.
Mhm.
And the reason he gave him the King gimmick was because the whole Hogan thing was going on with Hulkamania, and he
Yeah.
wasn't going to take the belt off of him. So, but he wanted to be able to honor Harley
Yeah.
Race.
Show respect and shit.
Yes. So he gave him the King of Wrestling moniker. And, well, since then, how many King of the Rings have there been?
Yeah.
And they can thank that from Harley Race.
Mhm.
It's just crazy the stuff that this man has done in the ring. I mean, we'll get into some more of outside the ring too. Let's see. After he retired from actually, and I didn't know this until recently either doing this research. I didn't know that his career-ending match was with Hulk Hogan.
Was it?
Yeah,
Was it the
because
table or whatever, or something like that?
yes, that
Yeah.
table gave him, like, he got a hernia or something when he fell on that table. And I watched it, man. This dude wasn't trying to like cushion his bumps. Like when he fell, and them tables weren't gimmick to
Oh
break
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
back then. When he fell on that table, man, he just like kind of let his body just go.
Yeah.
And like,
I know, like dead weight. Like here I go.
yes. And when he hit, man, I was like, oh, that looked like it hurt, but little did anybody know he got a hernia at that time and finished the match with Hogan.
Man, man, I'm not surprised at all. I had read a story where they talked about he had a match in Glasgow, Kentucky. Ended up, I think he broke his ankle, finished the match, and then drove, I think, all the way back to Tennessee before he went to the doctor to get it checked out.
You don't find people like that anymore, not even in the wrestling
The
business.
shit don't even make sense that some of the
No,
shit Harley did, man. It doesn't make sense.
no,
Like it don't even sound like it's real.
no, it doesn't. Like,
It's like,
yeah, it's
look, this ankle's broke. Oh, nah, I'll take care of that later. Oh, man, your arm's hanging? I ain't got time to bleed. Ain't that what he said? What he said all the time? I ain't got time to bleed.
I love Harley.
Like,
Oh man, he was great. Let's see here. He helped several. Let's see. After retiring from active competition, he became a respected manager and trainer. A lot of you probably remember him as the manager for Big Van Vader and Lex Luger.
so
Uh,
you're a super villain.
right. Well, I think Harley could be considered the first supervillain in wrestling. But let's see. After he, became a manager and trainer, He helped several wrestlers who later became major stars, including Trevor Murdoch. I don't know if you remember Trevor Murdoch from Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch in the WWE, but he went on to be a NWA World Champion,
He sounds
and
familiar.
uh, he's like Harley. He just looks like a regular everyday guy. You know what I'm saying? With nothing flashy about him or anything like that. Got a little bit of a belly and everything, but there's something about Trevor Murdoch that I like. And I think it's the fact that he's got that callback to guys like Harley and, and especially Harley, because he's a huge Harley race fan. When Harley passed away, it really bothered Trevor and everything. Race later founded the Harley Race Wrestling Academy in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
In 2004, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, which was probably way long overdue. And unfortunately, we lost Harley on August 1st, 2019, but he is still widely considered one of the greatest NWA champions and toughest wrestlers in history. I
I
mean,
think I think they need to change that to one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He's in 4 Hall of Fames.
yes,
4. I mean, shit. Like one's good enough, but you getting 4 different ones?
you're right.
NWA, WWF, Wrestling Observer, and I'm trying to think what the other one was. Was it AWA? Maybe.
May have
Like,
been.
come on, man. I mean, like, what else? Like, he was in the first Starrcade with Ric Flair. He had a big rivalry with Ric Flair.
Yep. And that was actually Flair's first world championship. He
Mm-hmm.
got to win it off Harley Race, which makes sense why Ric Flair is always name dropping Harley Race, because Harley was willing to do that for him. Harley's seen enough in Ric Flair to realize this guy is the next thing, and it's time for me to pass the torch on to him.
And see, that's exactly what I was going to say. He passed the torch to Ric Flair. It's something about Harley passing it to Rick, and then Hogan. I mean Andre passing it to Hogan, and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the shit I love about wrestling. The history. The.
It's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
I hate seeing these guys that say, no, I won't, I won't do that for him. And this, if we're going to harken back to it, the whole squabble between Brett and Sean, I'm not going to do this for him. I'm not going to do that for him. And it's like the whole point of wrestling is to get into it, because you love it, make the best out of it, but leave it better than what entered it.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I love Sean and Brett, I don't. I think they let their personal crap get into it too much, to where they couldn't do that.
I think
You
they
know,
cheated us and stuff because think of the matches we could have had, just like we've talked about before, if they were more willing to get along. You know what I'm saying? The Shawn, the Bret Hart, the Owen Hart matches we could have had and shit. I mean, like we could have had some. We had great matches as it was. Imagine if they had got along, how great it really could have been.
yes, and I don't think we would have had as big of a lull, and I don't think that WCW would have been as big of a factor. But again, it harkens back to, you've got to look at these older guys and how they've done it. I guarantee you Harley Race didn't like everybody he worked with.
Well, hell
But
no,
I
nobody
guarantee you,
does.
right. But I
Nobody likes
guarantee,
everybody to work with. I don't like half the people I work with. What are you talking about? But see, but you got to go to work. You got to make money. So hell, you do what you got to do.
and this is how it's done in this business. You know, if I'm putting up, if I'm working at a shoe store and I'm putting shoes up, then I need to do it the way that the shoe business does it. Whatever business you're in, you got to do business with the business you're in. And
Exactly.
I feel like Harley was one of those guys that, he may not like it, but he did business, and he didn't have a problem seeing a younger guy in Ric Flair and passing the torch. And look what Ric Flair ended up doing. You know what I'm saying? So really, Harley Race made Ric Flair.
Uh huh. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's crazy. The man had a huge bar fight reputation. It says Race had a reputation for being one of the toughest men in the business, and wrestlers said if a bar fight broke out, Harley was the last person you'd want to square up with because he wasn't playing a character; he could actually fight.
Oh yeah, I mean the stories of him fighting are just ridiculous. I mean the research I saw alone, like I've counted at least what 3 or 4 times getting arrested.
Yep.
There was assault. There was where he was accused of rape one time, which he was found not guilty of. Or no, they were dismissed later on. But I mean, he saved this girl. She was being harassed. He ended up getting stabbed because of it. And Harley, took the stabbing like it wasn't shit. Like, I mean, all types of fight stories and stuff. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to fight Harley. Now, I'm pretty sure there was lots of guys that thought, hey, man, I can take this guy, or, he's some fat dude sitting in a corner drinking a beer. And then when he woke up later on, he was like, oh, shit, what happened?
Right. After he
Like,
picked
oh.
about 15 of his teeth up off the
Yeah,
floor.
when he was looking up at the ceiling, he was like, oh, shit, look at that fan.
That's right. And that's the thing. I've off with the stories I've heard. I would love to be able to take a prime Harley Race and a prime Haku and put them in an MMA cage and just let them go in a real fight.
Well, I mean, they did fight over the King of the Ring. I know that's not. I mean, that's about as close as you're gonna get.
Right. Those two guys, from the stories I've heard with the bar fights, and that those are pretty much the two guys you'd want to walk in with. I'd love to see like an MMA fight between them two.
But here, let me ask you a quick question, because I don't know. You might have saw this in your research, and I think it was like 1999. They did a thing about behind wrestling, and they had a masked wrestler who was, telling all the secrets. I didn't know it, but it was Harley Race.
I did
He
not
was
know that.
broke kayfabe. Yeah, I think it was like NBC 1999 or something like that. They were doing a like behind the scenes thing about wrestling and stuff, and he was, and they had a masked wrestler that was telling, how things work and this and that, and yeah, he turned out to be the masked wrestler. He's the one that was telling all the kayfabe secrets. So, like, what do you think about that? As Harley being a wrestler and being who he was.
Well, I'm gonna have to look that up because I've never heard of that or seen it and everything. So now you've got me interested, and I'm gonna be up later tonight than what I thought it was gonna be. But honestly, by '99, I don't really have a problem with it because the curtain had been pulled back so much by then. I think,
Okay.
and I think probably the reason he did it as a masked wrestler was because maybe he wanted to still protect the business, but pull the curtain back a little bit to himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm really going to have to watch that to be able to actually have a better opinion on it. But yeah, I did not know that. So you said
Yeah.
NBC in 1999.
99. It was they were doing a expose on a expose on wrestling. Kind of behind the scenes and stuff. So they had a wrestler. Well, they had a couple different wrestlers, but like he was a masked wrestler. They didn't tell who he was. They wouldn't, and they were showing like what they do in certain moves or this and that type shit.
Hmm. I did not know that. He didn't end up smacking nobody, did he? And
I
knock
hope
him off.
not. I mean, I'm pretty sure that would have gave it away.
Right? Old Dave, what was his name? Dave Schultz.
Oh
Smacking
yeah.
the
Oh
crap.
my god. Woo! Is that real? Does that feel real?
Right. And then well, I wouldn't have even stood back up, but
He
it's
slapped him
fun.
like a rag doll. Like I haven't seen too many men rag doll before, but that guy was rag doll.
It was funny because I was coming home from work the other night and my neighbor was outside smoking a cigarette and he was like, "Man, have you ever seen that show Dark Side of the Ring?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "I was in here watching it, man, and I was watching that episode where that wrestler smacked that reporter, man." he said he said, "I don't think I'd have stood back up after I said it the first time." I was dying laughing. But yeah, Harley, I don't know, man. Harley was just something else. It says The race had so much respect in the locker room that if something got out of hand, Harley stepping in usually ended the problem immediately.
Who's gonna fight with
Which,
Harley?
right, I've even heard stories that like even Andre, that
Yeah,
Harley
I mean
was
that's what I was gonna
somebody that
say.
I was just gonna say that Harley was somebody Andre wouldn't like mess with, and I don't know if it was just out of respect or the fact that Harley could handle yeah, can't talk. Harley could handle himself.
Well,
You
Harley
know,
also body slammed him twice that I bet a lot of people don't know about. So Andre knew Harley's got strength.
yep,
Like so it's like and he probably saw him fight a bunch too. So, he realized, hey, I might not lose this guy, but I'm definitely gonna take some punishment one way or the other. Like Harley ain't gonna just let me slide by.
I feel like Harley was like an Andre in a regular man's body.
Yes, yes.
He just had that strength, and not only just the strength, but he also had the respect and everything else. It's
And I
it's
think
just
he just liked the fight too. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he liked it. Like I think he enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? Like especially you get some cocky motherfuckers that think they can take you, or oh, I'm gonna beat your ass, or I'm gonna get you, and then you're like, okay, do it, prove it.
right.
Get
Harley,
on in the ring.
there's just so many stories, man. Like we could go on for hours and hours about this guy, man. It's
Oh
crazy
man,
how much he's done. I'm over here looking through stuff and everything. It's like there's so much to bring up. I don't know where to go, where to start. Let's see. I did not know this. I did not know that Ricky Steamboat challenged Harley Race for the NWA title in the early 80s.
I didn't know that either.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that match and see how it is. But it says a young Steamboat showcasing his athletic style against the seasoned champion. It didn't give a date. It just says early 80s. That's crazy. Yep. And so it talks about the match between Hogan and him in '88 that ended his career. That's just, it's sad that somebody like Harley Race got, had to stop wrestling because of an injury of him just falling on a table.
Yeah,
Out of everything that man, like you said, stabbings, or bar fights, mangling his leg up and everything, a table, falling on a table is what took this man out of wrestling forever. But maybe that was, the universe's way of saying, "Hey, man, it's time to do something else."
yeah.
I don't know. Harley was definitely something special.
Did
Um,
Did you know that he almost became a minister too?
I did not.
Yes, at one point he was thinking about being a minister.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine his church? I
Right.
said, sit down, pass the
Right.
tide, pass the plate. Don't be
Right.
cheap either.
He
Don't
said,
be cheap.
I thought it was a trash can. Shut
God's watching you. God
Oh,
sent me to collect.
right. Oh, yeah. We didn't bring this up, and I actually made a joke about this off camera. But Harley Race, his first big break came when Harley Race and Kurt Henning's dad teamed up as a tag team. It was Handsome Harley Race and what did I call him? What is his name? Pretty Boy Larry Henning and
Mm,
Handsome Harley Race. They were the AWA Tag Team Champions and were a premier heel tag team. So I said off camera, I said, well, that means they were the original Pretty Deadly.
pretty good.
That's right. Oh, Handsome Harley and Luscious Larry. Wow. And yeah, looking at this picture, there was nothing handsome and luscious about either one of them.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely feel you on that.
Well, is there anything else you want to touch on? I don't
Well,
know of
I
anything
also
else.
saw where they talked about where he actually changed his birth certificate so that he could drink like a year earlier.
I did not know that. How do you change your birth certificate?
I do not know. I guess he went in, because back then they probably it was just paper like it is now, and it's a little ink, a little white out. Probably went and changed it because all it takes is what, one number. You change one
Yeah.
number, and then hey, there you go.
I, wa-
My
I
biggest question,
wonder if I was
yeah,
going to say I wonder if like back then you could just go in and fill out something and be like, "Hey, this my birth certificate's not right." I
yeah,
wouldn't, because like you said, record keeping. What was it? He was born in 43, so
yeah.
it
It
had
was
been
all paper,
63.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So even in 63, they didn't have the computer technology to have everything like we do now and everything. And even in like the 80s and stuff like that, it was harder to do.
mhm,
So I'm probably out some paperwork and saying, "Hey, y'all messed up and now I can drink a beer."
yeah. Um, so like, where do you put Harley on your list as far as wrestler? Is he top 10, top 20? Is he top 100 or what? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you had to put Harley Race in a spot as far as, say, all time wrestlers, where does he go at?
If I'm going based off of right now, and I'm
Hmm.
just going to be honest, I haven't watched a whole lot of Harley's, stuff from whenever he was on top.
Yeah.
If I had to go based right now and just off reputation, I would probably put him top 25, top 30 all
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Just because of the recognition, like this, some of our research said and everything, the reason they liked having him as the champion, especially in the NWA, was because he was legit.
Hmm.
And like we said, a lot of times, a lot of people in bars and wherever would try to buck up to the champ and see, how
Yeah.
real it really was. And they knew that, he could handle himself. So it wasn't like they were going to, make their title look bad or anything like that. So the legitimacy and everything that he brought to it and just the reputation alone, I'd have to do top 25, top 30. Now I am going to have to go back and look. So I reserve the right to change that number,
Okay. That's
you
fair.
know, especially with more knowledge because like I said, I'm not going to lie, Harley as far as knowledge of him is mostly the king and then into the managing of Luger and Vader.
Do you think he's underappreciated as far as a wrestler?
In today's world, as far as fans, yes. As far as wrestlers and inside the business, no. I think he's up there with the Hogans and everybody else, if
Mhm.
not surpassing some of those people as far as just respect
Yeah.
level. You know, where would you put him?
Uh, See, because I'm kind of like you. I caught him on the tail end of his wrestling or whatever. So I didn't get to watch a lot of the NWA matches and stuff. Now I know he had a big feud with JYD back in the day. I know, of course, he was King of the Ring or whatever, the first one, and that he would, when people lost, he would make them bow down or whatever to him or whatever. Um, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be upset with top 25, like I said, because I can't put him in my top 10. Not because I don't like him. It's just there's just so many people that's done more that has a better resume. But as far as his impact and his legendary status, he's got to be at least in top 20, top 25 wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not gonna, and I wouldn't have told him differently. I wouldn't go to Harley Rage. I don't care how old he was, and be like, "Nah, man, you're not a top 25 wrestler. I'm sorry, bro. Fuck that shit. I ain't stupid. I'm crazy, but I ain't dumb."
So let me ask you this. Um, because in doing my research, I also ran across and again, until recently in my older days, I didn't really pay attention, I guess, to what he was saying at the time.
Hmm.
How do you feel about the promo he cut on Ron Simmons in WCW?
I don't know if I've heard that one. Then
It was, I don't want to repeat a bunch of it, but it was to
very
the point.
controversial.
Yes, it was to the point of saying pretty much the only thing you really need to be doing is carrying my bags.
Oh,
And there was a lot of boy references,
yeah,
and I was just like, wow, because even in the mid 90s and early to mid 90s, that was like, oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Obviously, they were pushing the line. Now, on shit like that, when it comes to saying stuff, certain stuff like that, kind of like with the Roman Reigns thing, as long as it's, they've talked about this ahead of time and say Ron or Roman or okay, and they understand and they give the okay for it, then I'm all right with it too because they're actually talking about them. Um, Now, I think it's meant to shock. It's meant to offend. It's meant to get a certain reaction. That's why people say certain things they say. Um, I'm proud, so I definitely have to go watch it myself. Um, I try to take it with a grain of salt because I know it is wrestling, and I know that they were trying to push some boundaries at that time. Um, I can't really be super mad if Ron's not upset about it. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Um, I can still be offended, but I can't be mad. Ron's the only person that can really be mad about the situation because he was talking to him and shit. And if
right.
Ron's not super upset and if it was just part of wrestling, then it doesn't sting as much. I'm not saying that it wouldn't bother me, but like I said, I still haven't heard it, so I don't know. I'm not gonna be cool with the whole boy thing, but like I said, that's more. I'd have to ask Ron Simmons how he felt because my reaction is going to be different from him. I'm not part of the storyline. I'm not working this. I would hope they came in and talked to him about, hey, look, man, we're going to say some pretty fucked up shit. Are you going to be okay with this?
You know what? Now that we're sitting here, I want to find out if there was, or if it's known if there was any conversation like that.
Yeah. So I mean,
Was
it
there any pre conversation when Harley Race cut his promo that was racial on Ron Simmons? Based on reports, there was no widespread preconceived notion or prior knowledge among wrestlers that oh no, that's talking about the win. It's not saying anything. It's not saying anything about that, so I'm gonna have to do a little digging deeper
and that
to
might be one
see.
of those things that like we might not know because that might be between like
Right,
Harley. I mean, honestly, I mean, obviously Harley's gone; he passed away. Ron's here. I don't know if Ron would even bring it up or if he would want to discuss it. He might not. You never know with Ron
right.
Simmons. So that's something I would love to see Ron and to ask him about that honestly and shit. Like just
Yes,
uh,
so Ron Simmons, if you ever want to come on the show, we would love to sit and talk to you. It'd be an honor. So
definitely
anybody that
on.
knows Ron that's watching this or will watch this, let him know. We'd love to have him on. Actually, Ron's probably personally in my top probably 10 of personal favorites wrestlers of all time. I hated that his run wasn't as big as it was and
Yeah.
everything. And I also hated that whenever he went to the WWF, they put him in that stupid outfit and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I wish after that was done and he went over to the nation thing, I wish they would have let him start going by his real name again.
yeah.
Because to me, there was just more value in the name Ron Simmons than there was Farouk. But I think their thinking was everybody knows Ron Simmons
From
as a
WCW.
well, that and he has the reputation of he's always going to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Ron Simmons going to fight, he's tough as nails, blah, blah, blah. It was hard to make him a bad guy under the name of Ron Simmons because everybody knew, All American, first black heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much positive with him with
Yeah.
the name Ron Simmons that it was hard to build negative, you know. That's just my opinion on him, but I love Ron Simmons. Yeah, but Harley, man, Harley was definitely he was the bar before Ric Flair. You
Oh
know,
yeah, yes.
I think between him and say like, and again, these are people I'd have to go back and look at because I cannot say that I've ever seen a match with Jack or Jerry Briscoe or anything like that. But I don't hear I hear those names, but I don't necessarily hear them as revered as Harley. Maybe they're very revered. Ric Flair is always bringing up the Briscoes,
Hmm.
but I don't think I still think Harley's the man that shined above everybody throughout the 70s. The 70s were his.
Yeah, I think anybody that's a wrestling historian or likes wrestling history knows and is going to read about Harley Race. Like you just have to. I mean, like he was
And
such a big part of wrestling. Especially like you said during the '70s, especially during the NWA time and stuff.
yep. He was Ric Flair, I think, was on top in the NWA as the NWA itself was winding down. Harley was the man during its heyday,
Hmm.
and that says a lot, and it's not saying that Ric Flair couldn't carry it or anything like that, because obviously Ric Flair did a great job as world champion for several years. But like I said, there was just so much transition that happened there towards the late 80s between NWA and Jim Crockett into WCW and stuff. I don't, I don't know. To me, when I think of Harley Race, nothing else comes to mind except for NWA.
So, what do you think his legacy is as far as wrestling?
I think his Harley Race will be forever known as one of the greatest world champions and probably one of the toughest men to ever step foot in the squared circle.
See, that's what I was going to say first. Like a champ, but probably most known as probably one of the toughest men out there.
When I think of a tough wrestler, Harley Race is one of the first people that comes to my mind. And
And
it's nothing against people like Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns or John Cena or any of these newer guys, but I'm not saying they're not legit tough guys outside of the ring. I just don't think they have that reputation like Harley did.
no,
Harley was a tough guy in the ring, out of the ring. He was a tough guy when he was taking a shower. He was a tough guy when he was taking a shit. He just, that's it. He was just tough. There, when you look up tough in the dictionary, there's a picture of Harley Race just standing there like this. It's just, that's my take on him.
but
You got
yeah,
anything else?
no, I think that's it about Harley. Like I said, I mean, I'm gonna go look and see if he does have a biography out. Because if he does, I'm gonna go read it. I
Right.
really want to read his biography.
Yes, and that's something that I've gotten away from doing because, like, when it really became popular to for wrestlers, like when Mick Foley did his biography and stuff,
Hmm.
I remember like what was it like Mick came out with his, then there was his second book, the China book. I had them, I bought them and read them,
Hmm.
like loved them. But I need to get back to reading some wrestlers' biographies and stuff and everything because you find out a lot of stuff, especially when it comes from the horse's mouth.
Oh yeah.
If you can get, if you can get one on there where you've got it straight from the wrestler himself, he may not be the one actually writing it, but at least he's telling the story.
Hmm.
I think those are the better autobiographies and biographies because you actually get it from their mouth, how it went down, how they seen it. So yeah, if he's got one out there, let me know because I'm gonna go buy it myself and everything to read it. And Harley Race was tough. He was a tough shitter.
He was a man's man.
Yes, yes. As oh man, what is his name? I see him all the time. He's from here in Kentucky. His name's Billy. He's always talking about that's a man's meal. But yeah, man, I think that's it, man. I don't have anything else about
Yeah, I'm
Harley
tapped
other
out
than
for tonight.
he was great. So yeah, everybody go check out Harley Race. Look up all his matches. I'm getting ready to do some more research and stuff too. I got a week off. I'm gonna handle it. Check out what Harley Race was all about. Guys, I think that referee has hit that 3 count, so we are going to ring that damn bell. Oh, before we ring that bell, don't want to go too far. Next week, we will have Kentucky independent wrestler OG Ugly and his wife Nina Darling on the show at 8 o'clock. Am I right about that? Yes, at 8 o'clock to just talk about them and their experience in wrestling and everything. So tune in; it's going to be great. OG Ugly is very good in the ring. He's up and coming. Go check him out. EWA is coming up. I believe he's going to be there. I'm not for sure. I haven't seen the match card yet. But yeah, check out OG Ugly and tune in next week. We're gonna have him on the show. And now that referee's hit that 3 count, so we're gonna ring that damn bell.
There you go.